Be bold. Be brave. Be extraordinary. Be vulnerable. Be real. Be curious. Be true. Be you. Welcome to Trusting Your Gut with world-class energy intuitive Catherine McIntosh, a show designed to awaken you to enjoy the process of evolving, have fun along the way, and learn to listen to those silent in-between moments. You are the expert of your own life, and nobody knows more about the next steps to take in your journey than you. So please, listen to your gut and discover what's waiting for you to explore. Here is your host, Catherine McIntosh.
All right, my magical friends, we are back for another episode today. And today we're going to be talking about the science of self-healing, optimizing your health. And so as an energy intuitive, as somebody who knows firsthand what it's like to be so sick that doctors and Western medicine can't resolve it to the point where, I almost died. It was a pretty awful experience. And I became interested in this idea that we can heal ourselves. And whether you are struggling with your weight, whether you are struggling with, body pains, aches, a bad back, tense shoulders, maybe a torn rotator cuff, maybe you've been suffering from an autoimmune deficiency, you've been diagnosed with a thyroid disorder. There are a myriad of things that tend to go wrong. We'll say go wrong in the body, but really the body is attempting to communicate to you that something is off balance. And so this idea of self-healing, and I'm fascinated by this. So I have been basically obsessed with the energy of the body, the concept of the body, and the way that we can heal our bodies for probably 2 decades. And it started when I was in my mid-20s and was in a terrible marriage that I didn't want to admit to myself. And so after 9 months of doctor's visits and pokes and blood draws and tests and scans and everything that they could think of, and I was also given a whole lot of different what do you call them? Medicines that doctors are like, here, you have this, so this will cure that. Here, you have this, so this will cure that. But what I don't think we talk about enough, and there are people out there talking about it, is that what's going on underneath the surface, right? So giving you medication for, say, hemorrhoids, or giving you medication for heartburn doesn't address where that symptom is coming from. It only puts a band-aid on the symptom, and then you keep having to medicate or manage the symptom. And so I really truly believe the body is a miraculous body of consciousness. And we weren't given a training manual, right? Owner's manual, operating manual at birth to say, here's your particular body, here's your particular blood type, here's your particular DNA. And guess what? Some of that is going to be irrelevant if you're able to really use your mindset to change the way you look at what's possible with your health. And so I have been an intuitive consultant for 12, 15 years. And I've actually been in working with energy and working with bodies since I was about 18 years old. And even in college, my friends would be like, oh my God, my back hurts. Will you give me a massage? And I touch them and be like, I don't know what you did. And all I would do without telling them, and I don't even know that I really consciously knew it at the time, but I would put my hands on somebody's body and I would like work on them. Right. But I didn't really know it. It was just like saying hi to their body, hi to their cells, and being like, whatever's in here, now you can let it go. You don't have to hang on to it. And so when the body is not well, it gains weight unexpectedly, it gets off balance, you get moody, you start having mood swings, you start going through depression. And this topic is pretty close to my heart right now because I am in my late 40s. um, and the conversation around menopause is a real thing. And I really appreciate people that I look up to and that I resonate with who are like, oh my gosh, you go to the doctor and they're like, well, that's just what happens when you get this age. And I really believe that it doesn't have to be that way. If you've been diagnosed with something, you don't have to live with it for life. If you are suffering mentally or emotionally, you don't have to live with it for life, right? If you feel like you've been severely depressed most of your life, you don't have to live with it. You can find ways to change it. Now, is it always easy? No, because what we're looking at here with the science of self-healing is we're looking at, are you willing to be your own kind of scientific investigator? Because your blood, your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, your physical body, your muscular structure, your bones, your ligaments is different than any other body on the planet. Why? Because it has calibrated and aligned with your thoughts, with the way you were raised, with the culture you were raised in, the place on the planet. And so all of these factors, your parents, their thought processes, it really impacts your relationship with your body. And, I've traveled around the world. I've worked with people from all walks of life, all cultures. Some of them barely spoke English when I worked with them. And yet, the language of the body, the language of energy is universal. We just weren't given the language life lesson of our own body's system. And guess what? That body and the language of your body and your body's preferences and wants and desires and needs and health requirements shift as you shift. If you change locations in the world, if you move states, if you move countries, right? If you move environmental, what do you call it? Ecosystems, right? This happens. So this study, and it's something that I got from John Assaraf. He wrote a book called The Answer. I don't know. I want to say 20 years ago, maybe longer. John, you can let me know. And in that book, it said every second 10,000 cells die while 10,000 cells are reborn. And I am a math geek. I did the math and I was like, wow, that's 864 million cells in a 24-hour period. So this is part of the science of it. In a 24-hour period, 864 million. That's a lot of cells, you guys. 864 million cells. Million, right? They die, and simultaneously 864 million new cells come into the body. And so, if you're somebody who has walked around saying, I have bipolar, I have, severe depression, I have a thyroid issue, I have Parkinson's. I don't know if you know this, but a lot of people in the US who are diagnosed with Parkinson's, they did a study in Europe that they don't publish in the US. And it was that a lot of, like the symptoms of Parkinson's actually could be type 3 diabetes. And so the sad truth is that there are a handful of people that want to give you the information that you need to make the best choices in your life for your health journey, for your longevity journey, for your vitality, for your, brightness and your light. And there's nothing worse than living in a body with pain, living in a body with something that you feel like you can't change. So that could be weight, that could be skin issues, that could be a whole myriad of different things. And so when you are faced with this idea that you have something, right? And you're like, I got to go get the medication. I got to go get this. Well, 85% of diagnoses are misdiagnosed. That's pretty huge. So the irritable bowel syndrome you might think you have, and the medication you're taking for it might not actually be the thing that's wrong. Right? And so I wanted to sort of explore, how do you get to the bottom of turning on your body's own natural capacity to heal itself? So, other people have called me a healer, other people call me an energy worker, people call me all kinds of different names, some good, maybe some not so good. But I never really, I guess I call it a intuitive consultant because I can cover such a broad width and depth of things. So from lawsuits to court cases to business transactions to the sale of a home to a home not selling and why, to physical bodies, to like, I mean, I look at it all and I'm fascinated by it all. So relationships, money, abundance, wealth. Yeah, it's just, it's fascinating to me that if we recognize that we have the power to influence our body's ability to heal itself, it can change your entire life. And so when I was in that 9-month period, I was in a very unhealthy, toxic relationship, quite abusive. He was an alcoholic, and I was a people pleaser. It was a great combination of two energies coming together that didn't work so well for me. And yet that one choice of that marriage that I knew I shouldn't have done, that one choice, right, led me onto a path to never stop seeking, never stop learning about the consciousness of our body, right? About the way that it can be malleable and adaptable. And I have seen in my 20 plus years of working with bodies, I have seen miracles. Maybe we're going now on 30 plus. I sometimes don't think I'm that old, you guys. I'm like, what? I'm not that old. I'm just getting started. Life is just beginning for me. So, and the truth is I feel more alive in my body than I have maybe if ever. And so maybe I was alive at like 13, 14, 15, 10, 11, 12. But in my adult life, this is definitely the most alive I've ever felt. And so if in a 24-hour period, you go to the doctor says you have this condition, let's take this medication. You go home and you tell your friends you have it. You tell your spouse you have it. You tell your, siblings, your best friend, your yoga teacher, your therapist. And so what happens is these 864 million cells that died, 864 million new ones come in, and you're repeating a phrase, a sentence, a belief, an energetic sort of discharge. Your body is going to take on the energy of whatever it is that you are giving it. And so in the movie, I believe it was What the Bleep Do We Know? I believe it was made in the late 1990s. If you've never seen it, highly recommend going to check it out. It's old school. What the Bleep Do We Know? And in there was a man who studied, and I always mess up pronouncing his name. I think it's Masuri Emoto. And he studied the molecules of water and what would happen to water if you put messages like hate or, disdain or disgust or loser. I'm just making these up, right? And then you freeze the water, you slice out a molecule of that water, and then you put it under a microscope and you see what that molecule looks like. And then he took water and put messages on it like love, gratitude, I am enough, right? Maybe life is amazing. And then froze that water and then sliced it up, put it under microscope. And the negative messages had, brown spots and like deformed snowflakes or snow, maybe not even like a melted snowflake that got a little dirty. Whereas the positive messages, excuse me, oh my goodness, whew, talking about energy, baby. So the positive messages, when they viewed it under the microscope, they had these beautiful shapes that looked like snowflakes. And so he wanted to demonstrate the power of what we think, what we feel, what we tell ourselves. And so if your body is anywhere from 60 to 76% water, that means that your body will energetically take on the messages, the patterns, the beliefs that you tell it. So if you are broke and you walk around saying, I don't have any money, I don't have enough money, I don't have any money, I can't do that, I can't afford that, I don't have enough money, I don't have enough money, I don't have enough money. Well, guess what? You're going to create an energy in the cellular structure of your body that is one of lack, that is one of not enough, that is one of suffering, that is not one of financial abundance, financial growth, right? Progress. And so it is one of, I believe, in whatever you want to call my profession, I believe it's the most undervalued and underlooked thing. So when something goes wrong with our bodies, we tend to go, who do I talk to? What pills should I take? What doctor should I see? What test should I go on? And look, I am all for tests. A lot of my clients get tests, they get surgeries. I am all for Western medicine, like all for it. What I'm not for is is handing over your awareness and handing over control of your body to somebody else that probably is guessing, because guess what? Times are changing, bodies are changing. What might have worked for your body in the past may no longer work for you anymore. And so this is about being aware, being in tune, being connected to the energy of your body and its changes. And so when you start to realize, wow, I've been telling myself all these stories about all these problems with my body, my neck, my back, my shoulder, my hip, my knee, my ankle, my toe, right? And and when you do that, you're sending messages. The neurotransmitters in your cells, in your body, are receiving, the receptor cells are receiving the information of what you're thinking, feeling, right? And then the body goes, oh, let's make that person happy. Let's do exactly what they're thinking, exactly what they're feeling, exactly. And that is where we get into trouble, because you never know what's going on with the body. You really don't. I'm always surprised. So, for example, 90%, 95% of the time that people come to me with digestive issues, it's almost always a nervous system issue, right? When people come to me with stress and anxiety, almost always a nervous system issue, right? And you can include in that nervous system this idea of fight or flight, fawn or freeze. You can include in your nervous system, right? Once your nervous system is regulated, then guess what? metabolism works. Liver and spleen can detoxify the body. The thymus is a great big surface area that helps you with your intuition, but the thymus also is an aid in energetic vitality. So it will give you your energy back if you know how to work with your thymus properly. Most people who have thyroid issues, thyroid disorders, it's actually a self-esteem disorder. And when people begin to regulate their nervous systems, right? Just think about it. When people begin to regulate their nervous systems, all of a sudden the body has the space, it has the time, and it has the energy to heal itself. Really, really, really fascinating. And so there is no one who knows more about your body than you. There is no one who has lived your life, knows the intimate details of your thoughts. There's nobody that can tell you what is good for you, like nobody. You can have people who can guide you, who can open space for you, who can kind of walk by your side through this process, but nobody's responsible for healing you. You're responsible for healing you. And it starts with shifting the mind. And so if you don't like the thoughts that are occurring, then it's time to start to be your best detective and take stock of, wow, what are the thoughts that I keep repeating? Yep. And how, do I let go of them? And so the good news is if you are struggling with something, that you can change it. The bad news is that you have to be the responsible one to change it. And so what that means is you got to look at what are you thinking on a daily basis, right? I recently was talking to someone yesterday and they're like, hey, I have these questions about this. And I was like, well, are you passionate about what you're doing? No. Do you like your life? No. Is your body working? No. Right. And they have this like laundry list of things they were saying no to. And the point is that your body would love to heal itself. And when your nervous system is regulated, the body can begin to heal. All right. So with that being said, we are, we're going to take a short break. We'll come back afterwards. We're going to talk a little bit more now that we know a little bit about it, what to do next. So stay tuned and we'll be back after this.
Times TV.
Do you trust you? Do you trust your body? What if the key to unlocking the weight, pain, suffering, fear, anxiety, addictions, traumas, and sorrows was already inside of you? Learn to love the skin you are in so you can create the body, business, and life you love. Everyone always says you can't explain what Catherine does, you just have to experience it. From Hollywood actors to New York Times best-selling authors to some of the world's wealthiest and most successful, no two experiences are the same. For private sessions, online courses, live events, and the latest book Jack Canfield calls Game Changer and should be required reading for everyone, go to KatherineMcIntosh.com. KatherineMcIntosh.com.
Imagine becoming a super influencer. Reinvent yourself, invest in your brand, and then manifest your success with a robust spheric approach. Times Media and Broadcasting offers a unique and multifaceted way to become the spiritual and conscious influencer you deserve to be by putting your message across our powerful platform with its proven record of integrity and excellence. Through our produced shows, Om Times offers the opportunity to become a social media TV personality, a radio show host, an Om Times magazine columnist, and a syndicated podcaster, all in one shot. By live streaming your show on Om Times TV and broadcasting it across the extensive Om Times radio and TV networks, you become more than a host. You become an ambassador and a force for positive change. Om Times. Open yourself to the possibilities.
I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
All right, my magical friends. So we were talking about the science of self-healing and how to optimize your health. And so here's a couple things for anyone listening. So whether it is weight issues or whether it is an autoimmune deficiency, a thyroid deficiency, maybe you're struggling with your bones. I don't want to name any diagnoses for this sake, but the first thing is to stop trying to self-diagnose. Right? So instead of trying to self-diagnose, we want to create a optimum sort of health strategy. And the best way I know to create a health strategy is to start to change your mindset into something that it's like you become your best cheerleader. Because most people, if you ask them honestly, what are the messages they've been telling their body, like, eat this, sleep here, do this, you're not doing enough, why are you getting low on energy, oh, I'm getting old, oh, my body isn't working anymore, right? That's a downward spiral, and eventually you'll find yourself with something, and then you're like, oh my gosh, I'm trying to self-diagnose, or I'm trying to go to the doctor to get it diagnosed, or I'm trying to figure out what's wrong with me so I can find a solution. But Western medicine solutions aren't always, I'm not saying not to. Please know this. I am not a doctor. I'm not a psychologist. I'm just somebody fascinated by the energy of the body. I've been fortunate enough to work with people from all walks of life, all of the world, and be able to make a pretty big difference in their health journey, in their business journey, in their family journey, in their relationship journey, and all things. So what we want to first do is we want to stop trying to look for the problem so we can come up with a solution, right? That's just, then you go down this giant rabbit hole. The second thing to do is to stop telling yourself, "Oh, I'm sick. Oh, I don't feel well. Oh my God, I'm so exhausted," right? Like I caught myself last night. I had a really beautiful full dinner. I ate tons of food and I was like, oh my God, I'm so full. And I caught myself and I was like, okay, you might have had this delicious, amazing meal with good people. And what if you change the message you're telling yourself? And it was like, oh, wow, I'm so grateful for the meal I just had. Totally shifts the energy. And this is what we're talking about, is we want to catch ourselves in those moments where if we're saying things that we don't actually want to create, we're saying things that we don't actually want to continue repeating. And when you say it, you're basically sending a message to those 864 million new cells that came into the body in the last 24 hours, and you're piling on your past onto new energy. So that would be the equivalent of going to a car dealership and you've got like I don't know, 1982 Toyota that you're ready to get rid of. And I know people love their Toyotas. I love Land Cruisers. Maybe it's not a great example. Say you have, I don't know, a 1976 Pinto and you go to the car dealership and you buy, you know, an Audi Q7 and you're like, "Can we please put my Pinto engine in my Audi Q7?" The dealer would look at you like you're absolutely insane. And yet every day we're taking our past reference points and we are putting them in potentially a new energetic engine of our bodies. And cells, right, like attracts like, but also what wires together stays together, what fires together wires together. I don't know how you say it, but basically when you keep repeating those messages, you are then telling those 864 million new healthy cells to go put on an old energy that you don't even want, right? And so number 2 is to catch yourself. What are the thoughts you're continually repeating? And so I, coach a lot of people through a process. I have a ton of online group courses that are pretty phenomenal. And most of them you get live calls with me as well. But one of the courses I have, and we have a master class that I just did. And you can go on the show description, there is a link to the class, right? Or to sign up for it. You can also go to my website, katherinemcintosh.com, and you can sign up for the class. It's it's a /masterclass -opt-in, right? Masterclass opt-in with dashes in between. And when you begin to catch yourself in the moment, write down what are the thoughts that you may or may not even know that you keep repeating to yourself, right? Like, oh, I don't think I can do that. Oh, I keep doubting myself, right? Those little deposits of sort of self-rejection, right? You're diminishing your power, you're diminishing your gift, you're diminishing your vitality. Those little daily deposits compounded over time start to calcify the body, start to make the ligaments stiff. Maybe it starts causing knee problems. Maybe it starts causing wrist, ankle, feet problems, right? And so it is fascinating to me that in a very quick amount of time, if you are willing to put in the work and you go, oh, okay, these are the thoughts that I am energizing while not even knowing I'm energizing them, right? And you catch them, then you can start to replace them. Replacing those thoughts will blow what's possible for you out of the water. And so there's no magic trick. There's no hocus pocus. There's no woo woo. It literally is, oh my gosh, what's the messages you're telling yourself every day? Right? For 20 years, I struggled with body dysmorphia. I struggled with a very warped sense of what I look like. I still struggle, but I now have the tools to no longer go down the rabbit hole when I don't have the best day. Right? And so what you want to really do is go, okay, now that I can catch myself with these negative thoughts, what are the thoughts? What are the feelings? What are the emotions that I can replace it with? And guess what? And then you start, right? Can turn this into a mantra, right? And you start to repeat phrases that make you come alive, that give your body space, that let you know and your body know that you guys are in a co-creative relationship in order to transform your body, transform your business, and transform your life. And almost everybody I see that says, I've got this, it's never that. It is never that. So I always look at where in their body are they, hurting, where are they suffering, where is the most information? And then I start asking the body, I do it in my head, right? I'm like, okay, somebody's coming into, the spa with a bum knee and it happened 3-4 weeks ago. Okay, what happened 3-4 weeks ago? I lost my job. Oh, I'm going through a divorce. I just don't know if I can keep doing this, right? It's like you begin to catch it, and after you catch it, then you're like, ooh, You start to think about positive things. And this, more than ever, can override your DNA, can override your genetics, can override. So one of the things, and I might get a lot of flack for this, I don't always agree with the concept when people say, "Oh, it's hereditary." Oh, well, my dad had it. My dad before him had it. My dad before him had it. So I'm bound to get it. That is not doing you or the consciousness of your body any favors. So, my friends, if you truly want to activate the sort of science of transforming your body quickly and with ease, you want to start to engage publicly in a relationship with your body that allows you to feel like you can find the answers that you need from you. Right? You don't have to go asking everyone, paying everyone, doing all that, because the truth is you don't have to suffer. You really don't have to suffer. And no one in the world should have to suffer. And yet, for some reason, on this planet, in this time, most people are walking around with bodies they don't like, with bodies that they're not in relationship with. They're slightly disconnected or completely disconnected, and they're wondering why their body isn't working, right? It stops working and it stops activating the self-healing capacities because you are blocking its ability to come out and to transform. And there really is no right or wrong way to do this, but it begins by being curious. It begins by regulating your nervous system. Maybe you start to change your diet just a little bit, right? One thing at a time. You don't have to do it all at once. You really, really don't. And so I've put together this amazing masterclass for anyone who, like me, has struggled with their body, whether it's body image, body weight, whether you've struggled with, kidney problems or depression or a hunchback or whatever it is. I would go check out the masterclass, and you can sign up for it. You can watch it instantaneously. It's yours for the watching. Take notes and take with you, a sense of possibility, because nobody knows better about your body than you. So, my friends, one day at a time, one breath at a time, one life at a time, you are not wrong. And I can't wait to see you next time.
Catherine is not a medical practitioner nor a licensed therapist. She has strong opinions and will express them, and truly believes that you are your best advocate for any and every area of your life. If you need medical advice, please consult your physician.